Welcome back. Okay, we're gonna start a new one-off, one-shot mission here with our character. Lex Gray, he's just a basic rogue, and he's been tasked by the local mayor to recover some stolen goods that a handful of bandits have been alleged to have taken from the mayor's house. This is a cabin on the side of the village that has been abandoned for some time, and there has been suspicious activity seen around this cabin. So Lex Gray is currently at the front door trying to decide how to enter the cabin and recover these goods. There is, let's see, there's one, two, three, four, five, six total stolen goods spread across this cabin. And we have one, two, three, four enemies, potential encounters to deal with. However, you can see at the top here, as I positioned it also as the Dungeon Master, we have two valuable items being heavily guarded by these two bandits. While the other two bandits out of the four are talking amongst themselves surrounding, while next to this item right here. So what I did is I laid out these six-sided die, smaller die. The one-sided die are they're not very valuable items, but the two up here are have the six sides facing up. So those two are valuable. Okay, let's begin. Now, Lex Gray has to decide how to enter the structure, how to enter the cabin. He doesn't exactly know how many guards or how many bandits are on site or inside, nor he doesn't exactly know what to expect. But he knows that there are a handful of items, stolen goods that the mayor detailed for him during the briefing. So, Lex, being the rogue he is, he's going to attempt to see if he can hear anything through the doorway of through the front door of the cabin. Now let's position the camera a little more focused on the scene here. So let's roll to see if it is possible that Lex can hear anything behind his door. Let's say we're using the typical system. Maroko for this one, we're going to use 1 through 6 is no, 7 through 12 is maybe, 13 through 20 is yes, with the modifiers from -6 to +6. I'm going to say that it is because of the door itself. It's an old cabin. It's likely that Lex will be able to hear, so that's a +2 on a roll. So let's see, does Lex hear anything behind that door? We roll a die, and we got 16, so 18. He does actually hear quite well behind that door, and he can hear two specific voices of bandits chatting. Now, as far as what he makes out of them talking about, he hears, I'd say, not too audibly well, but he can hear them discussing that the raid went well to an extent, and that's probably all he can pick up. We can roll to how well he hears, but he pretty much knows that there is someone behind this door. Now, now we have to decide if Lex will bust in or he will strategically enter through another doorway. He's going to attempt to see if there is a visible sight line through the door. And let's roll to see if he can uh, see through the crack of the door, like the side right on the hinge. So Lex is going to try to see. I'm going to say if this is like an old cabin, highly likely that there's probably a crack in the door or there's a gap between the door hinge and the actual frame itself. So the +4. Can Lex see through the actual door? So we rolled an 8 plus 4, that's 12. He can barely see through the crack. That's a very high maybe. So he can barely see through a small crack on the right side near the hinge. And he can spot the bandit, this specific bandit, right here, barely the tip of this bandit's spear. So Lex now deduces that they are indeed armed, but he probably has already suspected that. Now, Lex currently has two daggers equipped, and he is pretty much ready for a confrontation, as again, he was prepared for this. He didn't go in blindly. However, he's going to play it smart, and he's going to back off from this door and set up a potential sting. So what he'll do is he's going to, let's see, knock on the door, like just kind of very casual knock, like 3 times. I don't think he's going to bash on the doorway because that will probably alert these guys up here in the corner of the screen. I'd say he's probably going to knock 3 times. So let's have him knock 3 times. He's going to do this, and then he's going to back off to the side. Now he knows the door opens a certain way. Let's verify it for ourselves here. This door does open on this set I bought. Make sure I do it right. There we go. Okay, the door opens like that. So I'll make sure for myself. So he's going to stand to the right and right there. Okay, he's gonna knock 3 times. Now he knocked lightly, and I'd say it's a certainty that the bandits heard the knock. So +6 on the modifier. We're gonna roll to see if the bandits um, heard the knock. So +6 on this roll. It is a 6 and it's a 12. So with the +6. Now with that in mind, because it's a high maybe, only one of the guards hears the knock over the chatter. So, sorry, I keep calling guards bandit. This bandit right here hears the knock. He turns around. It's a high maybe. This other bandit kind of is wondering what's going on. Now, let's roll to see. We don't actually have to roll for this guy because a knock on the door is um, potential for an oracle roll. Because I'm thinking, as the bandits, do they want to give away their suspicion there are people in this abandoned, well, potentially abandoned cabin, or they are um, they're not extremely cautious, but they are trying to play the part and remain. How am I supposed to word this? They don't want it to seem like this place is abandoned. Like they want to open the door, perhaps. So because it's a high maybe roll, I'm going to say that this bandit right here is going to open the door partially and crack it open, and he's going to peek through to see if anyone is there. But he doesn't see Lex immediately because Lex is right here. However, Lex does see the light coming through the doorway onto the ground. So he's going to ready his daggers. He's gripping them with high intensity. And this bandit right here is still looking through the door, doesn't see anyone or hear anything. Lex is standing completely still. Now, at this point, this other bandit right here is getting a little suspicious. He walks up to his his friend here, and he asks him, what's going on? Who's out there?" This bandit says, "Nobody." Well, and then Bandit will say, "Perhaps we should go out there and check." So let's see if Lex caught that saying that from the Bandit saying, "Let's go out there and check." I'd say it's a certainty. He's right there. +6 on his roll for a high certainty. Not 9, so that's 6. That's 15. He did indeed hear uh, fairly well that they're going to come out. So the Bandit is going to open the door and walk out. Obviously, can't really fit the bandit through the doorway. The first bandit is going to walk out, and Lex is going to immediately strike this bandit with his dagger right through the neck. So, in doing that would cause us to roll an oracle to represent the battle, to represent the attack, the efficiency of the attack. Because we're not using a character sheet. This is a super basic non-rules driven play. We're not bound to any RPG. We're not bound to D&D. We're not um, bound to Cairn. This is strictly just off the top of my head. We're gonna roll to see if this strike is successful, and because it's a surprise attack, I'm gonna say it's a solid 6 on this roll. So we're gonna roll, and we got an 18 plus a 6. That's over 20. So it's indeed it strikes the bandit, and he drops dead right there, chokes out, coughs out blood. And this bandit, noticing that, probably not the it probably will give away Lex's current position. These two are over here. Now let's roll. This bandit screamed out, or well, coughing out blood. Kind of hear a gargling scream. Now let's roll to see if the bandits up here heard the commotion going on at the front door. Well, the side door. The front door, I'd say, is probably over here. I want to say the distance is what? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40 plus feet away. I'm gonna say it's possible. We'll keep the probability at 0. Let's just roll to see if they do hear the commotion going on the front door. Let's roll in the cabin. It's a 6. There's no modifier, and that's a no. I'd say they just kind of hear. It's a very high no. Sorry, it's a very weak no, I should say. They just kind of have a feeling, a very, very slight tingle, but nothing to really warrant to stop the conversation. Whatever they're talking about up here, talking about these very two valuable items that we will eventually roll for. But back to our entrance. Lex took out the first guard, so let's slide him out. Well, we'll keep him here for now. Then this bandit, we'll see what he does. Let's roll to see what exactly he does. Now, 1 through 20, I'm sorry, 1 through 10, he gets reinforcements. He runs up here to talk to the other two. Potentially, I'm thinking that one of these guys up here is a leader of the bandits. It's a very small crew of misfits, bandits. 11 to 20 is that he runs out stupidly and tries to perhaps see who's out here or prepare for an attack or like kind of jump out the door, huzzah, and then try to strike. So let's roll. 1 through 10, he goes for backup. Let's roll inside because it's happening inside. And yep, at 3, he does indeed get some backup. So we basically rolled for that. So he quickly runs off here, and while he's running, Lex is hearing his footsteps. We don't exactly have to roll for that. So Lex is hearing his footsteps, and she just shadow from the left, and he's running inside. Now Lex is going to quickly. We'll do a roll for dexterity for speed to see if Lex can catch up to him and strike him from behind while he's running. This bandit here has a big spear, and he's heavily equipped, so it could slow him down. Let's roll to see if the difficulty probably would be a -2 on this because there's a step. It's quite some distance away. This bandit was already inside. Let's do a -2 on the roll. Does Lex catch up to take him out before he alerts his comrades? I'm sorry, that should be on the inside. I have to roll in the interior. All right. Minus, and it rolls looking like it's an 8. So that was a -2. So a 6. That's a very low maybe. That's a very high no. He does not get in time. However, when the guard got up to, I'm sorry, when the bandit got up to there, let's jump over to this area. We'll move this other dead bandit aside, put him in the graveyard. Lex stops right at the corner and pretty much acknowledges that he is running for backup. He's not running away; he is running to get backup. And Lex is peeking around the corner, and this bandit right here is talking with these two right here. So he interrupts the conversation with the two. He tells them that they lost a friend, they lost one, and these two are saying what the hell's going on, and they pretty much are gearing up for a potential bout. Lex is hearing. Let's see if Lex can hear what they're talking about, or if he can peek around the corner without getting noticed, but it's pretty much evident that there's going to be a battle coming up. So let's see. We have to roll specific here. We can roll to see if Lex can hear what they're saying or see, look, peeking around the corner without getting noticed. Let's do the peeking around the corner without getting noticed. Let's do I don't know, because this bandit is kind of facing this wall right here. So Lex would be in the peripheral vision. I'm going to say negative. I'm going to say, let's rephrase it. Does Lex get noticed when peeking around the corner? And I'm going to say a +4. He does. So we're going to roll inside. Here we go. +4. 11 +4. That's 15. He does get noticed. He basically gets noticed. So this guy, he says, he basically says, "Hey, you, stop!" And then the second original bandit turns around. Lex is gonna step back, and this guy says, "What's who's there?" And I'm gonna say that the leader is this bandit right here. So the bandit leader is going to tell him to get him. So he says, "Yes, sir." He's gonna run up here. Lex is going to step back, knowing that he lost the advantage for a surprise attack. And then this bandit's going here. He tells the other bandit to say, uh, let's see, what can he do? He can tell the bandit to go guard the other goods, but that's pretty much just this item and this item right here, these two. There's also this one in the open. But I'm going to say that this guy's second in command, so he's going to tell him to go get that guy. So this bandit is going to run up too, while this one is slowly stepping towards Lex, and then this other one appears. So now it's 2 against 1. Hmm. Lex has his daggers drawn, while these two guys have spears. Now let's lower the camera to more specifically the battle. Something the obvious encounter that's going to happen. Lex is playing this. Well, he's not exactly playing it smart right now. He's just stepping back, and let's roll to see who strikes first. Now we have the two. This is kind of an interesting matchup because it wasn't a surprise attack from either party at this current encounter, not from earlier. We bandits are down 1. They're both prepared to fight, but they're kind of at a stalemate right now. It is 2 against 1, so Lex does have a disadvantage when it comes to quantity, but I'd say that Lex is more the skillful rogue assassin compared to these two no-name bandits, so that's it's kind of an even playing field. Like it's 2 against the main character, basically. You have these two extras who are against the main character of the story. So let's see. If that's going to be, what we can do, we can double the dice. We can roll 2 die, and we can go back to we can roll for my usual, my Oracle where I have 2 modifiers. So I can do this actually, oops, I can do this in the actual map. So let's see, the red is obviously the enemy. I'm going to say they have an advantage to attack first because there's 2 of them, but not a very strong advantage. So I'm going to do red. These guys have an advantage of 2. Lex, being the seasoned rogue assassin, vote against 2. I would say he has an advantage of 3. So that's how it's currently leveled out. Let's roll to see who strikes first. And this will also, so per my own kind of rules in my head here for like Lucky Dungeon, if I were to assign it to a rules a game type, the basically whoever rolls higher wins this bout, and whoever rolls lower gets injured or even dies. So what we can do is modify that to see who basically strikes first. So I'm just trying to think of a way to track him. Let's see here. All right, let's roll first for the bandits because they have it wouldn't matter. It's still rolling for each order. Or you know what? Let's do the bandits first. Here's the bandits roll. Let me try it again. Scenery interference. There we go. All right. Try to get more spin. There we go. 3. Okay, clearly they're not going anywhere. So they have a 3. Lex has a 17. So that's 5 for the modifier and a perfect 20 for Lex. So Lex is going to strike first. We'll take away the modifiers. Those are strictly for the first bout. And I'm going to take this one right here. Carefully not to mess with anything. So Lex is going to strike both of them first. Now, with such a high roll, he's going to strike fairly quickly using his speed. And yeah, there we go. He's going to try to strike with both of his daggers and leap at them, aiming for their necks, like the first guy. So let's roll for a basic attempt here because he struck first. Let's see. The likelihood that he is able to get both of them, I'm going to say it'll be a high of 4 here. That's the modifier. That's the modifier for, let's put it here next to the camera. A 4. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to roll to see how effective his strike is. I'll try to give this a spin. We have an 11 plus the 4, so that's definitely a yes. That's a 15. He's able to strike both of them fairly normally. Like it's a just his it's everyday strike. He gets them pretty well. Strikes them both down. He does the classic anime rush, like he gets zips by them really fast, and they collapse. So they're dead. And now Lex is looking at basically standing right here post attack. Now we have to roll to see exactly what this guy was doing. Was he running for? Was he going towards standing near this expensive valuable items, or was he going to? Was he during the battle? That bout was he approaching the fight itself? And just in case, let's do a modifier for him. I'd say he's more like potentially okay. We have a couple things here. He knows that they lost the guy if they talked about that. So he's probably thinking that there's someone um, who is a seasoned warrior fighting, taking out his men, but only took out one. So I'd say his, well, it's hard to say. Let's do a 3 modifier here for this roll, this Oracle roll. Trying to figure out what he's doing. So depends on how we phrase this question. I want to say he's more inclined to protect, to stay where he is, to guard the highly valuable items? Let's pan up to him. Sorry, let's tilt up to him. A 3. Did the bandit leader stay behind to guard the items? Let's roll for him. I'm sorry, it should be a red modifier. That's the bad guy's favorite color. There it is. Blood, basically. We'll lose the red die. Okay, we're rolling for the bandit. And I rolled a 9, looks like. Yep, that's a 9, a dot there. With a 3, so 10, 11, 12, it's a very high maybe. He was hesitant. I'd say he's halfway up here just to see what's going on. Let's take away the dice. And Lex is looking right at him. And now it's basically one-on-one. So the bandit leader, the boss of the small bandit team, is looking Lex straight in the eyes here. Now realizing that his 2 men are dead, he sees this guy is down, but he doesn't see the third one. But he concludes that he's basically thinking, yeah, they're down. And Lex is fairly feeling very confident right now. Doesn't exactly have any hesitation, and he's not hesitant in the moment. He just took out 3 bandits without really much effort. 2 daggers drawn. This let's see with Alex's Alex. I see with Lex's stature, he's going to try to taunt the uh, bandit leader. The bandit leader could be a big shot, but I'm going to give this a modifier of 2. Is Lex able to taunt the bandit leader to basically make him feel, just put fear in his eyes? Let's roll for Lex. We rolled a 8, so it's a 10. It's not very effective, but it's not complete ineffective. It's a very middle road. So The bandit leader does take one step back, but smirks. So I'd say that's a good mix. Like he does take a step back. Lex is a seasoned assassin, but he's not going to be scared away. So I'd say that's a very good outcome. Lex is going to walk up to him slowly, and he's going to say, "Give back the mayor's items, or give back the mayor's goods, whatever." The bandit leader obviously won't do so, and he strengthens his spear because they all have spears apparently, and aims at Lex. And now we have an official encounter. Now, since this is kind of a boss fight in a way, we're going to do modifiers for this single roll. And let's see, how will we approach this? Let's see, I'm thinking. Sorry, guys, one second. Let's do a. They're both they're both ready for battle. That's obvious. I say Lex has a slight advantage because of that scare tactic. It did somewhat work a bit. It was a very like a middle ground maybe. I'm gonna give Lex the 4 for this. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong die. I'm gonna give Lex the 4 right here. And then the bandit modifier will be a 3. I say that's fair. Will be a 3 right up here. Okay. Now let's move the camera just a bit more out of my way. There we go. All right. Now we're gonna roll each attacker's die. So they're both on equal footing for the most part. Very barely an advantage on Lex's part. We're gonna roll for the bandit to see how the outcome of this bout goes. All right, there it goes. A 5. Pretty pathetic. With even with the 3. So that's 6, 7, 8. Now Lex has to roll equal to or higher than that 5. All right, now we're gonna roll for Lex. Let's move the bodies out of the way. So I feel like rolling just right behind him without hitting the bandit's die. All right, here comes the Lex's die. It is a 15 with the 4. That's 19, almost a perfect. Lex completely obliterates him in this bout. He basically runs and jumps while the bandit leader kind of steps back and grips a spear. But Lex takes his first dagger, hits the spear out of the way, and takes the other one and lunges, jumps onto the bandit leader, and stabs him right in the heart. So he's basically on top of him, takes him out, and the bandit leader is bleeding out to death. And that is the kill of the bandit leader. Pretty quick, too. Um, Now, with the bandit leader dead, Lex is looking at these two valuable items sitting right here, and he's been tasked to recover them. Now, here's where we have some fun with I'd say, post-action. We never really dove into how Lex is as a character, like where he sits on the whole, paradigm or renegade, villainous, neutral, or a good person essentially. Let's roll completely to see if Lex is going to truly take these items back to the mayor or keep them for himself, or perhaps lie and say that some of it wasn't recovered and he's going to secretly keep some of the items and only give back some amount. Now, this is me. I'm trying to figure out how to roll this because it's so intriguing to see how this can turn out. We have the 4 die. We have the modifiers. I think here's what we'll do. The red is Lex's. I'd say Lex is chaotic neutral as a character based on everything that's happened, just how I chose to play Lex, and he's gonna have a very low good side roll, so a 2. Um, Heck, you know what? Hell, because of how he's acted so far and how he's taken out these bandits without hesitation, let's do a 5 for that evil side, the dark side of Lex. So let's roll for the dark side of if he's going to keep. We'll just have to decipher how it goes after the rolls. So let's roll the dark side. At 15, that's actually really good. That's gonna be hard to beat. That's a complete 20. And now the good side. A pretty pathetic 5. So that's looking at a 5-2 It's a 7 compared to a 20. Okay, so how does that turn out for Lex? Does okay, he indeed will not give back all the items in this entire cabin, that's evident, but it being a complete 20, not a perfect, not a critical, but a complete 20, I'd say Lex is going to take most of the items and give back, well, we can go by the ratio. He's going to give back 20 to, let's see, 20 to 7. He'll give back a little more than half of the items. So Lex is going to take these two. Obviously, we're going to take these two very valuable items, whatever they may be, and he's going to keep one of them for himself. He's going to recover one small item and then keep the rest, whatever they may be, gold, weapons, armor, knickknacks, etc. He's going to keep all of these to himself on the ground. So we have one valuable item and a bunch of small ones. So six and then one, and a couple ones. I'd say that's probably fair, or you know what, bare minimum. He's going to keep all the small items and one of the valuable items, and only return the mayor one valuable item. And he's going to lie to the mayor that uh, the bandits were hid, or a lot of the bandits ran off with most of the items far before he got there, but he was able to take out some of them, and even the boss, the leader, and recover the very last remaining item in the corner uh, of this cabin. So there you have it. That's the end of this. And Lex comes out on top. He's able to defeat the bandits and technically recover all the items, but not to the extent of returning them to the mayor. There you go. That was this one shot. I'd say I was going to call it Find the Prize, and he indeed did find the prize. He didn't take any damage. We took out four total bandits, one being the leader, pretty effortlessly using for the most part, using my normal Oracle system. So this was an experiment, guys. Tell me which I wasn't bound by any rules. This was kind of more off my lucky dungeon system where it's kind of streamlined everything. There's no initiative checks. There's no like turns. It's just I roll for the encounter and to see what happens based on the difference. I use the solo play oracle to tell, like to kind of lean and decipher them as to what the outcome might be. But yeah, that was really interesting. It was pretty quick too. Only half an hour, which is perfect. I wanted this to be really quick, one shot, not be like an hour or two. But yeah, that was it. This is another solo RPG, um, 830 RPG video, using solo play, and that's really it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.